But Ray
how
McGovern,
he specifically was targeted.
Ray
Yeah.
McGovern nailed and talks specifically about the Isikoff story. And of course, the Isikoff story that broke talked about how the Trump administration and Mike Pompeo had conspired potentially and plotted and drawn up plans to either extradite him, kidnap him, have some type of a potential shootout on a London street. There were all kinds of wild scenarios that were thrown out because that's what the CIA does when they're briefing a president, of course, when they're giving him scenarios. There's questions as to whether this was brought by Pompeo or by Trump himself. Lots of people seem to believe this was a vendetta that Pompeo had over Vault 7. And that's one of the things that Ray McGovern had pointed out just the day after this whole thing broke and before everybody really had time to analyze and talk to anybody. He says Michael Isikoff is at it again, this time with co-authors Zach Dorfan and Sean Naylor in a long potholed piece posted on Sunday on Yahoo, where Isikoff is chief investigative correspondent. Seeing the title, wouldn't you dip in?
Yep.
Kidnapping, assassination, and a London shootout inside the CIA's secret war plans against WikiLeaks. Yeah, Pompeo's scary. You would know, Darlene. You live in his state, or right nearby. She's in Missouri. He's in Kansas, I believe. I sent out a quick tweet to alert those many readers who are malnourished by the corporate media to the subliminal but clear subtext. The big lie that Assange was a Russian agent, which he clearly was not. After all, he published DNC emails hacked by the Russians, quote unquote, to hurt candidate Clinton and throw the 2016 election to Trump, right? Hacked? Wrong. Okay. The Yahoo email, this is so good. The Yahoo article has a wealth of shoot 'em up detail, the most plausible of which were long since revealed. This is where Max Blumenthal, even a year plus ago, this came out in the UC Global trial with David Morales. What really happened? But sense is, even if only those wimpish lawyers had not stood in the way, we'd have gotten our man. Shoot up any Russians trying to steal him and bring him to Russia, no problem. First Amendment for Assange, no problem. So we are told, for example, the CIA and White House began preparing for a number of scenarios to foil Assange's Russian departure plans, according to 3 former officials. They have no evidence for this. Those included potential gun battles with Kremlin. Yeah, this is what we talked about, right?
Yeah.
Isikoff et al. So this is quoting the article more. Okay, and there was zero debate on the issue of whether the CIA would increase its spying on WikiLeaks, said a former intelligence official, right? So no stake in Russiagate vampire. So
well,
good.
And Megyn Kelly asked Pompeo about this today. Or not today, but like this week, I think.
Yep.
Because I know I pulled that story for our show. Him and I called into Glenn Beck.
Oh yeah.
As well.
Yep. Oh, he had the most uncomfortable giggle. Like, yeah, of course we didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think there was the quote with Megyn Kelly was that they were a anti-national something like
a non-state hostage intelligence service, I believe was the terminology that was used to describe them. Or a non-state actor as well. That's another way to describe it.
Yeah.
So Ray McGovern, he was a 27-year career CIA analyst, including serving as chief of foreign policy branch, chief of the Soviet foreign policy branch. Brilliant. Yep. Vault 7. Exactly, Valerie.
Yeah.
That is.
But Russia.
Russia.
Yelled
the embarrassment of the Vault 7 leaks is why the CIA is determined to ensure that, unfortunately, They have to get him out. He's got to be released. I mean, story after story after story highlights the persecution that this man is being underwrought right now. The
Yeah,
torture that he's
I told
already,
Misty we should just. I
yeah,
told Misty we should just start sending cakes. You know,
right?
one might get through with something. You know, like at
Unbelievable.
this point, the cowboy breakout posse needs to. You know, like it's ridiculous.
It is
But
beyond ridiculous and really
like, what are they
upsetting.
holding him for?
What are they? Well, he's already
Anyway,
won his extradition trial, and they've already said that they're not
expedition
going to
trial.
extradite him, but they're still holding him, which is still really weird, um, because he's a flight risk, and he fled.
Hmm.
He fled to the Ecuadorian embassy prior. Well, but okay. I don't want to try that whole part of the case. But the other angle that I wanted to show, and the other article that I thought brought a different a spin to the story and a different flair, was from Kevin Gosztola from the Dissenter, another amazing writer. He was on the ground in England a couple of years ago, or in February before COVID, for the last trial. He was on the Zoom feed for the last for the extradition trial itself in September, and the appeal that happened in July. And he's been one of the most tenacious writers, and he also covers prison malfeasance. He covers all kinds of corporate wrongdoing. Big fan of his work. The Dissenter is one of his newsletters. He's also one of the co-founders of Shadowproof. And
Right.
so his article from September 29th was the report on the CIA plans to kidnap to Assange shows that the clearest evidence yet of improper pressure on prosecutors, right? That the district judge who
Yeah.
denied the extradition request previously dismissed evidence of improper pressure from the CIA to charge the WikiLeaks founder. This is, again, an unbelievable story. Here, though she ruled against the U.S.'s extradition request, she rejected the argument from the legal team for WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange that hostility within U.S. intelligence agencies translated into improper pressure on federal prosecutors to bring charges. However, the Isikoff story on the CIA's plans,
Yeah.
right, is some of the strongest evidence yet that he was only charged with crimes because of their thirst for vengeance. He was charged with by the
And
U.S.
if they had
Justice.
killed him, I mean, if they had killed him while he was being like, isn't that not like witness? What do they call that? You know, where it's like tampering with witnesses or whatever.
Well,
You know,
that would just be
but
worse than that. That again, what they're trying to do is send a message to anybody that wants to report on the crimes
yep.
of the national security state, of the CIA, of the United States, of the U.S. military, the U.S. government. So the charges criminalize the act of merely receiving classified information, as well as publication of the state secrets from the U.S. government, targets common practices in journalism, which is why the case is widely opposed by press freedom organizations throughout the world. And there's been letters. Okay, again, here's more about Vault 7. All right, and Gina Haspel shared his zeal for retaliation. Right, he sought revenge after the publication. Pompeo proposed kidnapping Assange in the summer of 2017. His obsession led several CIA officials to draw up plans for assassinating the publisher. Right, some national security.
Yep.
This is really more of what the Isikoff story should have been, but he's taking the
Right.
parts of the Isikoff story that are actually real, not mixed in with the Russiagate stuff. Now, the other question is if the Russiagate stuff's in there, how much do you take this? But again, Pompeo didn't deny that he set this up.
Yeah.
Representatives of the Assange legal team were asked to comment but declined. They don't want to impact this case. If anybody has the wherewithal to support Kevin Gosztola's work, please do. At both the Dissenter newsletter, of which I am a subscriber, as well as at Shadowproof. Again, this is another long one. And this gives a real breakdown of the Isikoff story, and again, CIA is a disgrace. The fact that it contemplated and engaged in so many illegal acts against WikiLeaks, its associates, and even other award-winning journalists is an outright scandal. And again, this is what Freedom of the Press Foundation executive director said, and that's what you were talking. That's, I believe, the organization that Glenn Greenwald founded, Freedom of the Press Foundation.
Yeah. Yep.
That's where we're talking about how it dovetailed into Glenn.
Yeah, how Greenwald got personally,
Right. That
so
Greenwald and Laura
and
Poitras
he
were
had
also
to leave the country, and that he couldn't get back into the country by what his lawyers recommended not. So
Yep.
super fun for them.
Free this man. Please free this man.
But yeah, this Assange thing, yeah, just like how many times do we have to why do we have to beg for this? I don't get it.
God, get that guy off my face. Get the guy off my screen. Again, the
Yeah.
Dissenter newsletter. I get a couple a week, I would say, from Kevin. Recent posts. Here's a couple of other ones. Report on the CIA plans. Shows okay, that's the one we just looked through. Here, he was reportedly obsessed with killing Assange. That's another article that he wrote for the Dissenter. This is 9/11 Cinema. And all about Daniel Hale. These are more in-depth. And again, he's got tons of different articles at the Dissenter. Also, again, recommend. This is a separate newsletter, I guess, from Shadowproof, which is the other organization that he is the co-founder of with Brian Sonnenstein.
Right.